Hi, everybody. Welcome to Trendy Trading. Today, I'm going to pick one name, and that's going to be Costco, C-O-S-T. And what we'll do through the week is just kind of follow up with it. We'll talk about the levels, and this is going to be a great education series for you. So we'll track it every day. I'll do a follow up with you and give you those levels, see how these levels react, and so forth. I'm going to work from a monthly into a 4 hour. It won't take very long, so please stick with me. And if you like this video, give me a like and a retweet out there on Twitter. And please on YouTube, give us a thumbs up there and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is the Costco Monthly. A couple things that I want to point out to you is this cloud right here. This is just like a visual of an EMA cloud, exponential moving averages, and I use a 9, a 13, and a 22, and as you can see, it works pretty well. This is basically a cushion of trend. Every time that the monthly comes into this level, it has worked almost every single time to buy the dip, and you can see that. Notice that this past month in February, we pulled back to the 9 EMA and things look pretty good. Also notice in January, we also pulled back into the 9 EMA and it worked very well on the reclaim. So if we ever dip back in this cloud, I just give you a little bit of tokens of advice here is don't do anything when you're in the cloud. Wait until you reclaim and then use that low as your support. Okay. All right. So we are inside so far for the month of February. I would expect Costco to stay inside considering tomorrow is the last day of February. So that next month for March, we'll be looking to see if we go inside and up or inside and down. All right. So inside and up, what does that mean? Just really quick, let me zoom in. That means starting in March, if we start to go over wherever this base candle is, then I'm looking for continuation to the upside. And you could see that we would be getting that rounding bottom. We would also be getting higher lows. Right now, we are making lower highs and higher lows. That just equals a sideways trend. Okay, so that's what we see here on the monthly. Let's go ahead and move down here to the weekly. All right, so the weekly, why is this important for me for Costco? Because we're just starting to get back above that cloud. So from a shorter perspective, not your monthly, is as long as we could stay above this cloud, I like this trade to again almost give you that rounding bottom, but on a weekly perspective. And I'd be looking for that target up here towards 527 and 534. You could see those levels right here, folks. Okay, so 527 by 534. Now notice I have an area of entry on reclaim or trim and take profits in this area. I want to show you how I approach this. Okay. So see this pink line here? This is what we call a trendy edge. Trendy edges find supply and demand. Anytime the trendy edge is above price, that is supply. Basically what we're saying is there's not enough supply here. Buyers will run out, and when they do, price pulls back to fill orders that were not filled before the move up. Okay, so what does this mean without getting too technical? Basically, it's just resistance, folks. I would expect some selling to occur here, and I would expect a little bit of resistance. However, this is also sort of my trigger long, if you will. So if I bring my cursor up at or around 519 and some change, if we could start to move over that, the higher probabilities suggest that we will push up towards the 527 and that 534 area. Okay, so right now this area is going to be resistance for me. Let's go ahead and just put that on there. I'm going to go down to my template here and put resistance. So just so you all know, these yellow lines, they say resistance. Okay, and so over that, again, targets up here. Now, what if price indeed rejects here? What would I expect? I would expect if price were to pull back into my green box, I'm going to stay very patient here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's say that we gap up tomorrow, okay, across the board. So things look like this. And say we're right at the resistance level. If for some reason we start to pull back and we take out the gap, all right, we start to break down. Basically what I'm looking for is when price comes into the green box, just like I was telling you on the 9 EMA on the weeklies, I'm going to stay patient and I'm going to be looking for a reclaim to get long of that box, and then I'll be buying further out for a reattempt towards this resistance, and then a break that gets us back into the trim and take profits level. Okay. Another thing that I like to do, if for some reason the market pulls back very sharply and it just creates something like this, the closer that we get towards the bottom of this box, I like the idea of going long for a relief bounce into the top of the box. So basically, price pulls back into around 501 level. I'll be targeting up here towards 510. Okay. So that is your weekly look. We are above the cloud, not quite out of the cloud, meaning we haven't created enough cushion here, but there definitely is some momentum coming into this name as it closed up 2.36% or $11.91 just on Friday alone. A couple things I want to also point out to you. This is triple inside. So this is the initial candle here that I'm looking at, and we have one candle inside, two inside, and this third one is inside as well. If we can break above that resistance, this really looks like a great move to the upside. And if we break through the trend and take profits, this is important as well. I have several contracts on, right? If I take this trade, I'll have several contracts on. And if we push up, what I would like to do is trim here, and then I'm going to move my stops up where I'm comfortable. And ideally, we'd like to move through there and then trim at this target. And then if for some reason we break above there, I'll be giving you more targets as the week goes on. Now, as far as stops go, I want to approach this is most likely buying at the money or just out of the money, maybe 40 deltas. If I'm bullish on this, okay, I could sell put credit spreads down here. I can also, again, just buy at the money, probably no less than a delta 40. And I can also buy call debit spreads. And if I were buying call debit spreads, I'd basically be targeting this box here. So I personally would be buying like the 525s and selling the 535s. Again, from a call debit perspective, I'd be buying 525s and then selling the 535s, okay, and looking for price to settle between this green and red line here, okay. All right, let's go ahead and go into this daily look and see what we have as well. All right, notice that my box, even though I'm using trendy levels here, that purple level under here, it's also in line with a gap fill. Very important. We know that a lot of times price moves up to a gap fill and then we reject, right? So that's what we're looking for in this level. And again, makes sense and is confluent with the idea of that call debit spread or even that directional. All right, so right here we do have a gap fill. So please understand that. And then above that, we have another gap fill that comes in or around this level around 536. So if you could see if price were to move up here, let's say we hit our first gap fill, we pull in a little bit. All right, just say this is Wednesday, and by Thursday we push back up, okay, and then we reject right around this area. I would expect price to come back into this red box, and those call debit spreads would work out very, very well. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't necessarily know if I'll be buying a debit spread yet, but those are the debit spreads I would be looking at. Okay. All right. So another thing to point out here is on your daily, you're looking at this level of resistance, okay? And that is part of the trendy edge there. See these purple dash lines here? You can see that although prices kind of moves over them, it always seems to reject in this area. Okay, so this is resistance, and notice that this yellow line again is confluent with that resistance level that I showed you earlier when we were looking at the monthly. All right, so that is the daily. Let's go ahead and move over to the 4H candle. Now the 4H candle on my scripts alone, again, everything uh, that you see here basically that doesn't have writing on it, these arrows, the blue levels and so forth, those are all trendy scripts and those are proprietary and those are automatically put on the chart before price gets there. Okay, so notice that the candles are going from red to white to green. So we have a momentum change here. But what's fascinating is when you start to put all these type of things together, they become synergistic, they flow, everything kind of, you start to understand, man, these levels are really cool, not only from a higher time frame, but also to a low time frame. Notice if for some reason we do reject here, what do we have sitting in this little green box down here? Well, we have the 4-hour cloud, the EMA cloud, which is the same cloud as the monthly, it's just on a smaller time frame. Okay, so again, we would look for this cloud to be a form of support. And look, folks, right underneath that form of support, we have an inside and up. A lot of confluence here uh, for support, and that's why I really like this box if we were to pull back to look for entering for those longer term calls. Okay, so just want to show you that on the 4H. Notice down here at the trendy edge, we found support. Didn't quite tick it, but it did come very close, and you can see. Looking up and to the left, I also want to note that this red box now, this is really cool. You can see how the monthly translates into the 4-hour. If you look left, there's an inside and down. So all these videos about inside and up, inside and down, resistance, support, all of that you can find here on my YouTube page. But we're using all of these levels to help come up with one of the best blueprints out there. So again, today is the 27th of February. We will update every day this week just to show you how these levels react. And I want to be able to give you feedback so that you can see the proof of concept. All right. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Again, if you like the video, please hit like. If you want to subscribe, please do that as well. If you want to check us out in the room, we are at trendytrading.co. We have our trial going on, half off for a full 7 days, where I trade live, I educate. You get to see my alerts in real time from my brokerage account to my room within milliseconds, just to show you proof of concept. Again, can't wait to see you. Good luck this week, and I hope this blueprint on Costco helps you. Thank you and have a nice day.